I want to get back into this again. And first of all, I want to make a statement. And this is my belief. My belief is Hosea 1:10 and 11, 1:10 especially, saying that in the land of our captivities, it shall be said that ye are, where you were said, you are not my people. In the land of your captivities, in the last days, we are in the last days, where it was said unto thee, you are not my people, it shall be said that ye are the sons of the living God. Based on my observation of the condition of the mind of the heathen who has us in captivity, they're not going to give this kingdom up. They're not going to just give it up. And we know them saying we are the children of the Most High God is giving their kingdom up, right? That's giving their kingdom up. And we know that's not going to happen if it's left up to them saying, okay, we're gonna change, we evolved, and we're gonna give you guys your land back. We're gonna go back to the Caucasus Mountains. And we're gonna let you guys have your government. Or they're not gonna say, or they could say, well, we've been here so long, can we live with you guys? We're not going to attack you anymore when you try to build your government back up and unite your people. Matter of fact, we're going to help you. We're going to make sure you have all the funds you need to build your kingdom, to build your people back up. Anything in our power that we can do, we're going to do it, and we're going to be at peace with you. After 400 years of war on you, waging war on your people, genocide, hatred, murdering your ancestor after ancestor after ancestor, down through every generation with our foot on your neck. We're not those people, so we're going to surrender and go back and keep these treaties. We're going to give the rights of indigenous people. We're going to respect you with those rights. We're going to respect your rights, God-given rights, and no more hatred from us. We know that's not going to happen. They are fighting too hard, nail and tooth, to hold on to this. And plus, we know the Bible says they have no changes, right? These people have no changes. Said their soul is not upright in them. They have no changes. Another scripture says if they could be healed, he would have healed them by now. I know a lot of people say, well, God made Esau wicked like he is. But we have other scriptures that tell us we'd be wicked too, just as wicked as them. But what did God do? He nourished us through his chastisement. They've never received chastisement. Why? Because they said they didn't want to have anything to do with God, his laws. They wanted to live their own life as gods on the earth like he made them. They challenged him to his word and said, if you made us to be gods on the earth, you made us with free wills, then leave us alone and let us live our life that you gave us. Right? So that's their challenge to God, and that's what he did. That's how he made them wicked. The Bible said he chose Jacob over Esau, not because either one of them had did anything wrong. So a lot of people don't believe in the foreknowledge of God, but I believe in predestination according to the foreknowledge. All right? Although God set up the situation because he knew the character that he had made, and he knew that Esau was going to say, I don't have nothing to do with you. Now, why didn't Jacob say that? Why didn't Jacob say that? Because Jacob had a different heart in him. He had a different mindset. Esau was made proud. He was proud. He was proud of that light skin and that long blonde red hair. Okay, he was proud. He was built up in self-pride. And he hated his birthright. He hated his people. He didn't want to be nothing like that. He hated good. He hated being accountable to the Most High, right? And so we just want to look at a little bit these treaties. We're going to stick with these treaties and these contracts that we made with these people. Why? Because we want, not that we feel like I just quoted to you or paraphrased to you scriptures to let you know I know that they're not going to change. And reading this and showing them the laws back to them, reading the laws back to them that they agreed to, their oath of office is to these laws, not just the Constitution, but to the rights of indigenous people, realizing that we are God's people. They say we are a hate group, but they've been hating us. They say we're brothers, we're their neighbors, we should love them, but they don't set the same example. They are the elder brother of the Israelites. Why don't they set the example to love us? Ever since he sold his birthright to Jacob, he's been trying to keep him killed Jacob because he hated Jacob after Jacob wouldn't let him back out of his promise that he had made. Knowing that he hated his birthrights, Jacob was chosen by God because he was the more honorable one, and God loved him because Jacob loved the Most High. He loved his birthright. He loved his family. And the Most High chose him over Esau. Read Romans 9. Go down through Romans 9 and read it. Okay, so I'm talking to people who know the law, but you that don't know, read those scriptures because it's a matter of life and death. It's a ton of evidence on YouTube and all over the internet proving who we are, proving why we insist that we are the Israelites. A lot of good and respectable references, proof that we have studied and found the reputable proof that we are. You can trust the science that you can trust, right? We found that science, and we know that you can trust it because it's been proven over and over again. We've looked through numbers of history references. The Bible is the best reference of our history. It's the best evidence you can get to prove who we are. None of the other nations on this earth fit the curses or the prophecies that we fit of the Bible. We're the only nation, for instance, that lost all awareness of who they are as a people, right? We're the only nation that went through 400 years of chattel slavery. Now, everybody was in slavery, in and out of slavery, but we are the only nation that was enslaved by all the other nations. And Daniel's statue proved who these nations were. Revelations, John proved what type and what would be the characteristics of the people through the beast, the people that would have us in captivity. Okay, Revelation, John in Revelation proved the time period. We're going through that time period now, right? Esau's in charge. He's the last nation that would have us in captivity. And so we followed the timeline, and everybody knows that can hear the story of the Israelites in the Bible they would look out in the world today and apply that story to us, right? All right. The next issue I want to try to settle today is the issue of who are the people today. We know that we have a lot of who are the Northern Kingdom today, right? Because actually, we have a lot of people saying that the Northern Kingdom is only the light-skinned people, the mulattoes. Well, I don't agree with that, and the Bible don't agree with that, right? And we want to offer first, just use your frame of, just use your do the math, reasonable math, inductive reasoning, a deductive reasoning. You can use them both. You know, you know. First, we start off with, we know that the Northern Kingdom came to this land over 2,000 years ago. They were here almost 1,500 years or more before King James started colonizing this place. See, a lot of people don't realize that King James began to colonize this place first, right? He started colonizing Mexico first through the Pacific. What did he do? He went down through Moab. He went down through Moab, Asia, and gathered those people up. They were dark skinned then. I showed you pictures all online. They got them right here on this YouTube channel. Showed you pictures of Moab and how they looked with Down syndrome, right? The Mongoloid people, right? Then you know what he did after he gathered them up, willingly, some unwillingly, a lot of them was willing to come over here. He went down and gathered Africans, East Indians, and he brought them over here through the way of the Pacific. Not only that, he stopped down and got Japhet, right? Japhet was Japhet. I'm not sure if they were in Hawaii then or not. I gotta check it out. But anyway, he came over here and started colonizing Mexico, working, building, colonizing. People were intermarrying, right? But these were all on the Negroid side, right? These were brown and dark skinned people. All right. So we got those people mixed in with the Mexicans. And you can look in the Mexicans now. You can look in that race. And it's really seen really in the mulatto light skinned Mexicans and Spaniards. You can see the Oriental, and that, you know, you can see the slanted eyes and you can see the straight black hair, you know. Now we know the lighter skin came from Esau when he came over here, when he colonized Mexico. When the Spaniards went up in Mexico and raped and colonized Mexico, they put on the light skin, took off the melanin. Not only that, they already had the slanted eyes, but the Mongoloidness came from the Orientals in this land. Before, when the Spaniards and the Portuguese first started colonizing, British first started colonizing America from the transatlantic side, from the, you know, they had a lot of intermarrying going on, right? Whites with blacks, blacks with whites, indentured servitude, And it was all right because the more the merrier, the more children. A lot of the people that was indentured to a master was allowed. It wasn't that they were allowed, it was just not illegal for them to marry outside their race. Matter of fact, that was even better. Because why? It was their plan to cut the Israelites off from being a people, from knowing who they were. We would lose our culture. That was prophecy. Okay? So it was okay. It was okay. All of that was fine. What happened is when the rich people, the business owners, the slave masters ran into the problem is that the workers gathered together, right, to protest and come against the industry because they didn't like the treatment that they were getting. They were being treated like slaves. So you got all these mixed group of people talking about mixed up in marriage and stuff like that. I'm not talking about children because we know the seed of the offspring is of the seed of the father from the seed. But they didn't know that then because they were calling the mother the progenitor, the maternal side. It was the mother. That's where you got your bloodline from. They were teaching that. But the thing of it was is that these people were mixed together and joined in uh uh ethnocentric. It was not a one race ethnocentrism. It was the people against the business owners, the masters. And they uh revolted. They revolted against them, boycotted them, and I think it even broke into a physical fight. Bacon's rebellion. They rebelled against the masters. And so they came, the masters and the, small hats and the British and all the colonizers came up with an idea that we'll start the misogynist law, where we won't allow them. We're gonna protect ourselves by putting the people against each other. We're gonna have a high class, a middle class, and a poor people. And poor people were gonna be. It wasn't told to us yet, but we're gonna make these poor people the strongest people. We're gonna make them indentured. We're gonna make them chattel slaves. We're gonna put them in economic and physical slavery, economic slavery that they'll never get out of. We hate these people anyway. They are Israelites. They are Israelites. Okay? And I'm going to show you later proof that they knew we were Israelites because they, at one point, I think it was 1800s, they banned all the Israelites out of the colonies. Okay? Proving that they were calling us Israelites then because the Israelites wouldn't ban the Jewish people calling themselves Jewish wouldn't ban their own self out of the colonies when they owned the colonies, right? They funded everything about the colonies. So we know they wasn't talking about the so-called Jewish people today. They were calling us Jews and Israelites. We know that it's in newspapers. It's in a lot of newspapers. It's on the Dahl census, right? It's in books, and it's on the when they brought during the Renaissance, beginning of the Renaissance, when they were bringing black people over here as indentured slaves, not perpetual slaves in chains yet. When they were running over here and jumping on those ships to come over here to work, trying to get away from Fernandez and Queen Isabella, they were coming over here and having to work to pay their fare for their fare over here. They had to work 7 years, where the Caucasians only worked 4 years to pay their fare, the fare. of the boat ride. Somebody had to pay for it. So they had to work 7 years to pay their balance off. And they were calling themselves Jews then. Because why? It was illegal. That's why they ran from Europe. Because you had to either call yourself a Christian, or either, you were going to be killed, your children taken from you and put in slavery. It was not allowed to keep your customs. It happened more than once. History repeats itself. The Maccabee era, Babylonian era. So it happened more than once, right? And so we want to just lay this foundation down, let you know why is it so important for us to teach the civics. It's because we are going to have to figure out a way to come together. Now we know Dane Calloway and Judge Joe Brown and Roland Martins, they have their own idea. They want to cut the Israelites out. They want to just tell people, hey, some of them are saying, hey, we don't believe in religion. We were just here. They can't tell you how we got here. I think that's Dane Calloway. Judge Joe Brown, he hates religion. Roland Martin, he hates the Israelites. Because why? These people are sellouts. They're using us. They're using our nationality as a way to chase gold. They see money in it, right? I think with Dane Calloway, he's discrediting every other solution. He's discrediting every other solution, and religion, any kind of religion, he claims to be spiritual. Roland Martin, he thinks politics. He thinks politics will get us out of the dilemma we're in, and just voting the right person in and sticking together and vote. Stick together and vote. Vote ourselves in their system. They're going to let us take their system, their government, U.S. government and democratic system over and get control of it. When the democratic system was designed to hold us in captivity. It leads us away from our own government. Judge Joe Brown, he's with the Roland Martins, but, a bunch of dirty names for his people. He wants to rule over them on the local level. He wants to be mayor. He wants to rule over the people, get his little payment, live his life on out. He's for Esau's kingdom, right? So with all of that, we want to just get into the rights of indigenous people, right? And then we're gonna after we get into this, we about five articles in this, we want to talk about the Christian black codes. We're going to get into that a little bit today. We're going to talk about these Christian black codes. And I want you guys to be thinking of scriptures. I'm going to give you what I got, paraphrase, give you what I got, and you guys think of scriptures to support, or however, if this is wrong, tear it down. Give us scriptures that lead us in the right direction. Okay, but the American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Why is this important? Again, we want to debunk and expose all the lies. For years and years, they've said, hey, we got to do some research. When I know a lot of people put in their request for reparations, and we see that this government has given everybody reparations, right? Given everybody reparations. They've helped every nation to build themselves up. And I think Trump said the shithole nations, uh, referring to the Negroids, the indigenous people, the true indigenous people of this land. You know, he went down in Puerto Rico and threw paper towels at them. I guess he was saying, soak this water up with these paper towels. I don't know what he was doing. But I know no nation has joined in to help us come out of the situation that we're in with the United States, forcing their government and their jurisdiction over us, enforcing it with their military police system, and their strength is in the law. The strength is in their law of what they call justice, right? Okay, so but they say we got to figure out what we owe you, what was done to you, what's right and wrong. We got to figure out right and wrong. We don't know if we did you wrong or not, you know. But this declaration of the rights of indigenous people is proof that they already figured it out. They already figured it out. And notice it says the rights of the indigenous people. It didn't say the Native Americans, right? So they know who we are. We are the indigenous people. Why? Because in the Webster Dictionary, 1828, when you look up what is an American, it's got us there. The Coppertone people of this land was here before the Europeans. They call themselves Europeans when they're not. When the Caucasians got here, we found, like Trump said, Indians who look like Michael Jordan, talking about the color. Dark skin is Michael Jordan. That's what the Indians look like. From dark skin to light skin, brown skin, tan. You know, we are different shades of brown. So they know who we are, and they have already figured out what they owe us, right? This is a catalog. They've cataloged it, right? They've cataloged it. They already know. Organization of American State General Assembly, regular session, 45, the 45th session. This is the 45th session that they've had on regulating the rights of indigenous people. This session was in 2016. Santo Domingo, Dominican of Republic. Okay. All right. So what does that tell you? They're in the Dominican Republican, right? It wasn't done here in North America, though. They recognize and classify us and them, the people down south of North America, on the islands, on Brazil and all the islands, the 12 tribe chart. They classify us all as the same people, right? Let's see. Let's go down here, son. Okay. The American Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People, 2015. Okay. Indigenous People, Civil Rights, America. 3, Indigenous People, Legal Status, Law, America. This is America. So this is dealing with, one, the Declaration on the Rights of the Indigenous People. They're declaring the rights of the indigenous people. Why? They want to make sure that we know and they declare that they respect our rights. And then the civil rights of the indigenous people of America. Then 3, the indigenous people legal status. What is our legal status in America? Our legal status is that we are the indigenous people. We are sovereign. That's our legal status. That's our legal status, not lawful. Because lawful, we are 3/5 of a man. We're not even full human according to their lawful system, their law system. Okay? But our legal status, according to God, He sets the legal status. Every man is created equal. We are free. No man has the right to dictate his will to us and force us by gunpoint to follow. Right? Okay? The Organization of America, state, Secretariat for Access to Rights and Equality, Department of Social Inductions. I can't see that too good. Let me look down here. Inclusion, social inclusion. Title, second title, third series. Okay. So, okay, the Declarations on the Rights of Indigenous People. Adopted at the third plenary session, held on June 15, 2016. The General Assembly. This is a recalling, okay? They're recalling, they're looking at it again, recalling the contents of resolution. AG Res 2867 XL 1 V XL IV 0/14 draft. So I guess that's the number in Roman numerals. The American Draft, Declaration of the Rights of Indigenous People, as well as all the previous resolutions on the issue. This is they're revisiting this again, right? This is the recalling, okay? And then it got a second recalling, also the Declarations of the Rights of the Indigenous People in the Americas documents, those call numbers, which they're reaffirming. So that tells me that this is something that they're looking at again, and they didn't change anything. They said everything they did was right. They're reaffirming that the process in promoting and effectively protecting the rights of the indigenous people of America is a priority for the Organization of American States. So in other words, they're reaffirming, they're saying, okay, we got it right. We're right. These people, what we're about to present was right for us to do. We had it right the first time. We didn't do it. It was set up as law, right? It's set up as law, but we're doing something else here. But we're looking at it again. So they can't say we didn't look at it. Okay? Recognizing that the valuable support provided by the member state, okay? It's everybody that's in union, the United States. Observer state, it's people that's not participating, the states that's not participating. the organs, which are the organs are the executive, legislative, and judicial uh, branches of their government. All the agencies, all the licensed branch, all the licensed agencies, you know, all of their agencies. That's the eugenic agencies, the banks, right? Police forces, the military. That's their agencies. The law, the courts, agencies, and entitled entities of the Organization of America State. All of their organizations that are licensed by the United States, all their government, city and state, local, all of their organizations within the judicial, legislative, and executive realm for the process within working groups to prepare and draft the American Declaration on the rights of the indigenous people. They've all thought about it. It's telling you right here, they've all thought about it. Okay? Let's see. Recognizing. Okay, we did the recognizing. Let's do this next one. Recognizing as well the importance wait a minute. Yeah. Recognizing as well the important participation of the indigenous people of the Americas. Is that where I'm at? Yeah, the participation. Also, the participation um, of the indigenous people of America in the process of preparing this document. So, who helped them prepare this document? Because it wasn't us, unless you had some Negroes on on these uh, on these councils. You had Negro. Yeah, I'm pretty sure maybe so. They had Negroes. They had Negroes in government in 2016. So okay, and then so taking into account the significant contribution that the indigenous people of the Americas have made to humanity. Now, I don't know what they're talking about. You know, this is political, but I'm sure they know what they're talking about, and they know who we are, and they know what we contributed to. They know the 400 years of free labor. They know all the inventions that we made as expert, as the expert workers. We knew where the machinery broke down. We knew when it started to break down. We know what we could tell the mechanics where to go repair. We did the repair. We did the repair before they took over those jobs. We did the repair to the machinery. We fixed it. We were the mechanics, the engineer, and all of that. They didn't do work, okay. And so they do know our worth and what we did, uh, what we contribute to humanity. They said it. So when they said we're supposed to be a blessing to humanity, the Israelites supposed to be a blessing to humanity, we did it already right here. This is how we blessed them. They'd still be in the dark ages if it wasn't for us. We invented all the stuff that made their life better. We invented it. We came up with the ideas. Okay? The United States remain committed to addressing the urgent issues of concern to the indigenous people across America, including combating social discrimination against indigenous people. Now, they were talking about us. They were thinking of us, but they were talking about the Native Americans. They contributed this to the Native Americans. What have the Native Americans done more than we have done for humanity and America, except for help them keep us in mental captivity, mental slavery, help us to be cut off from our people, from our heritage, from our knowledge of self, pose as imposters, $5 Indian, and those mulattoes, those nation mulattoes of Esau and all the other nations posing as Native Americans today. Okay? So it says, and then it goes and talks about Canada is committed to renewing. See, so that's how you know they're talking about those fake Native Americans. Those people who they say walked across the Bering Strait. Yeah, those people, Eskimos. That's who they're talking about. And all of Esau's bastard children that he posted up as Native American, the 5 civilized tribes. We were in there with them, but they came out. They came out and marched, and he marched them up into Oklahoma on the Trail of Tears and left us, the Negro Indians, the true Aboriginals, left us down here all still scattered. After, this was after he scattered us all over South America and all through there. And, and the ones he left here, this was after that. This so-called contract here, this so-called them respecting us, this was after all of that, after they said we were free. They said we were free. So look at this. Recognizing the rights of indigenous people. Recognizing the rights of indigenous people. First, let's read the member state. It says the member state. This is the preamble. The member state of the organization of the American state, hereafter the state. Recognizing the rights of the indigenous people are both essential and of historic significance to the present and future of the Americas. See, so if we know that they were throwing shade on us, but really they were talking about us, but claiming, but casting our identity on these so-called $5 Indians, these imposters. And I'm not saying none of them had Israelite blood in them. I'm not saying that none of them had, because it's brown ones down there now. It's people with deep melanin in them with them now. But they were told, but they gave the money and they gave the respect to the Native Americans, not the indigenous people. There was indigenous people, Negroids that left out on the Trail of Tears with them. Canada and America has given these people money and land. But none of these people that they've given authority to have turned to the Negroes and said, hey, here's some of the money for you guys. Here's, no. They was told to segregate themselves from the Negroes. And when the Negroes filled out an application, they had to fill out an application to be considered as part of those 5 civilized tribes. The civilized tribes, the European people who call themselves natives, they looked at the people, the dark-skinned people who had been with them all that time, went through that Trail of Tears with them and said, hey, y'all got to give us proof that y'all had ancestors here in the Americas when the Europeans got here. Right? So that lets you know that these are not our brothers. They have a government. They don't fit the curses. Everybody, there's a whole lot of poor people in the world. Whole lot of Esau's children that are mulatto that he treats like straight dogs and savages. He treats his blonde-haired, blue-eyed people like dogs and savages, subjects that he can just murder, and they call it collateral damage, right? He'll murder them to keep his power and government and jurisdiction over us. So, let me read. I want to get to these articles, these actual articles, the do's and don'ts. The important presence in the Americas of the indigenous people and their numerous contributions to development, plurality, culture, diversity, and reiterating our commitment to their economic and social well-being, as well as the obligation to respect their rights and cultural identity. Ain't that something? Their rights, respect their rights and cultural identity. So they know that this is something they should be doing concerning us, right? They know the history. They know the Reconstruction, when just like from Hebrews to Negroes, from indigenous people to Negroes, from Indians to Negroes. They know what their Reconstruction looks like. We got all the proof. We got all the proof we need. They know the First Amendment gives us the right on their behalf, tells them, hey, you can't mess with them on that. That's one of their rights. Everybody has that right. You got to remind these devils, you got to remind these people of the rights of humans. Ain't that something? You got to remind them. It's written down as a reminder that these people, these are the rights that these people have. Why? I'm going to show you why. Because they wrote another law out, Jim Crow law. They had to write them both out, because they didn't want to lose track, just in case they were put in check. They didn't want to lose track. They keep track of their sins, right? They keep track of them. This is keeping track. Now, these people, in other words, what I hear and what intelligent people hear is, everybody got a right to be treated the same way. God created us all equal, but this is the way we're going to treat these people. So we're going to put it down like this. These people have the rights for this, to remind us what we're taking away from them. Everything they said we have that we have the right to is an indication and a reminder to their people, future people after them, what they should take away from us. Okay? Because if not, they might actually really begin to treat us like we're human. Newer generations, but they want to sit here and show you in code what we're taking from these people. We're taking their humanity from them, and we're continue to have jurisdiction and rule over them by saying, here's their rights here. This is what we're not going to do for them. What's right. Okay? So that's what that is about. You can read this, you see it. Culture and identity, have the right to culture and identity. I'm going to just go ahead and read these. That the existence of indigenous culture and people of the America is important to humanity. Now, you remember I just gave you the definition, the motive, reaffirming that indigenous people are original. They know diverse society with their own identity that form an integrate part of the Americas. They know. This is what they're not going to do, though. Concerned that the indigenous people have suffered from historic injustice as a result of inter ally, ally, their colonization and disposition of their land, territories, and resource, thus preventing them from exercising, in particular, their rights to develop in accordance with their own needs and interests. That's what they know. They're withholding that from us. They're saying that's what they're saying. You know, the Native American Indians. This is what we did to them. This is the rights they have. But they know that's talking about us. They know if they recognize what they did to them, it's the same thing they did. It applies to us too, right? Okay, let's go. Recognizing the urgent need to respect and promote the inherent rights of indigenous people, which derives from their political, economic, and social status, and from their culture, spiritual traditions, historic and philosophies, histories and philosophies, especially their rights to their land, territories, and resources. They know what they're taking from us. They know. It's written down right here. Recognizing further that respect for indigenous knowledge now, culture, and traditional practices contribute to sustainable and equitable development and proper management of the environment. We got to manage our own environment. Not only do they know it, but we should know it. And we're showing you right now that this is what we have to stand up and come back and apply ourselves to and apply in our government these rights to do this for ourselves, okay? Bearing in mind the process of achieving at international level in recognizing the rights of indigenous people, especially 169 ILO Convention, the United States Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People. Bearing in mind also the process made in nations of the Americans at the constitutional, legislative, and jurisdictional level to safeguard, promote, and protect the rights of indigenous people, as well as the political will of state to continue their process towards recognizing the rights of the indigenous people of the Americas. Okay, I'm going to leave that there because everything I just read, I didn't change the pages, but I'm going to change them. You got that right there? And what you can do is fast forward it. When I move to another page, just fast forward it. Okay. Sorry about that. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Recalling the commitment undertaken by the members to guarantee, promote, and protect the rights of the indigenous people, including those undertaken at the third and fourth summit. Okay. As well as universal inseparability and independence of human rights recognized under the international law. So the international community, that's on the other page I just turned from. I kind of turned too fast, but we're gonna cover this page here, and then we're gonna just go into 5 articles and match them with the Negro codes, 5 Negro codes. Okay. Convinced that recognition of the rights of the indigenous people in this declaration will foster among states and indigenous people harmonious and cooperative relations based on the principles of justice. You know what they call justice? Their laws is their strength, and they established what justice is, right? Justice, democracy, respect for human rights, and non-discrimination, and good faith. Okay? Considering the importance of eliminating all form of discrimination that may affect indigenous people and take into account the responsibility of state to combat them. Okay? So we know they didn't do that. They did the opposite concerning us. We are the true indigenous people, the Coppertone red people. Encouraging states to respect and comply with the effectively implement all their obligations as they apply to indigenous people under international instrument, in particular those related to human rights, in consultation and cooperation with the people concerned. Okay? So they know what's right and wrong. It's written down. It's not like they're trying to figure it out, right? It's not like they're trying to figure it out. They're not trying to figure this out. They know how to treat people. They know right from wrong. They know how they want to be treated, right? They don't have to try to figure it out. Section 1, Indigenous People Scope of Application. The Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous People applied to Indigenous People of America. Okay? Self-identification. Ain't that right? And that's all the Israelites are doing. We are self-identifying based on the records, based on history, based on the Bible, based on all the records and history and the books. We found out who we are. But when we try to self-identify, what do? They say, oh, you guys are hate teaching. You guys are teaching hate. You're endangering the small hats. Anti-Semitism. And all we're doing right here, we have the right of humans, indigenous people, humans, God-given rights to say, hey, we found our ancestors. This is who we are. There's some other people claiming to be us, but they're not us. They have no proof of that, they have no proof of these people being their ancestors. Matter of fact, it's impossible for them to be those people because their physical makeup would not allow them to live in the area we came from. They would all be burnt to death. Right? Okay? So, self-identification as indigenous people will be a fundamental criteria. Let me see. I can't see. A fundamental criteria for the determining of whom this declaration applies. We got to identify one and see this and see what it's saying. If you want this document to apply to you, you got to self-identify with some kind of proof. They got to prove that you're not the people. This is one of the rights of indigenous people. You don't have to prove who you are. All you have to do is identify that, hey, these things that they say you have the right to is not a part of your life. Matter of fact, they're being withheld from you. And, and then once you realize these things are being withheld from you and you fit the dilemma, you fit the curses, then these people have to say, okay, let us look and see if we're doing these things to you. They don't have to say, well, did we do it to your ancestors? No, did you do it to us? Or is your government overstepping this jurisdiction? Are you supporting the people who claim to be at war with us, like the police, who are militarized? Like the banks redlining our districts, like the schools saying we can't teach our history. Huh? If so, then your government is violating us and violating us as a people. That's genocide. You try to destroy us. Are you sticking our people in your jails without a jury of their peers, knowing we don't have a government and we don't have a police or a judicial system set up that you can communicate back and forth with, knowing you won't get any repercussions. You just do what you want to us. That's genocide. That's overstepping your bounds. That's violating of all these treaties and these contracts with humanity. You are a terrorist to humanity, and especially my people here in this land that you came. My ancestors back 1,000 years was on this land when you got here. We were here. So you can't say this is not our land just because you didn't see any fences or walls corralling our little property up. No, you can't say that. You killed all of our livestock. You polluted our waters. You took over our parks where our animals are, and you said you were protecting them from us. We are the ones that are supposed to be protecting our resources. We are the ones that say when we eat a deer or when we don't. Not you. You killed all the antelope. We are the ones to preside over our own resources. It's right here. It says, okay, self-identification. When you wake up and say who you are, it's right here. I want the Israelite camps to get this. It's right here. Self-identification as indigenous people will be a fundamental criteria determining to whom the indigenous this declaration applied to. The state shall respect the rights to such self-identification as individuals, individually and collectively, in keeping with the practice and institutes of each indigenous people. Each indigenous people. All the people that are indigenous. Each tribe. Each time. Individual, collectively. If we come back, then you're supposed to respect our rights and give us what you took from us. You say your forefathers took, but you took it too. Okay? Individual or collectively. Ain't that what the Bible said? And that what's that in is that Job? Man, what's that scripture in Job? Says you should deal with a man as an individual or as a nation. When we come back to God, he blesses us individually. He don't wait until the rest of us come back for us to start getting the blessings, the curses that come to move off of us. We know as a people, until he rid this land of Babylon, of the Babylonians, the new Babylonians, the red dragon, until he rid them, then we're all under that curse. Are they in power right now? Yes, they're holding on to stuff. But now he's still blessing us, and some of those curses are coming off as we wake up and start keeping the laws. As we wake up and say, hey, we know who we are now, individually or collectively. We're going to see more results collectively. Why? Because the Most High says, drop this thing where I'm the leader of this group, and if you ain't in this group, then you're not in the truth. And I'm in the leader, and we're no part of no other group. I hear a lot of them groups saying we're no part of any other Israelite group. Well, that's why God got to come in and let them take y'all out of the way, man. King Uzziah, you got to leave, King Uzziah. So the rest of us Isaiahs can come back to the Lord and gather together, because you leaders and you captains of hundreds and thousands, you deacons, you captains, y'all got to be moved out of the way, Israelite camps, because collectively it's not going to happen. Hosea 1 and 10 is not going to happen until we collectively come back. And you guys are stopping us from collectively coming back to our nationality. You with these big groups, purple people, ISUPK, IUIC, you big groups, GMSS or CC, yeah, you groups, you're in the way. You leaders are in the way. God gonna have to move y'all for these young people and to gather up and come together so we can get out of here. That's the only way we gonna come back to our identity, if God got to move y'all out the way, because y'all want to be the leaders. And he said in Hosea, he said they will appoint themselves one leader. It's not talking about Christ, but when he gets y'all out the way, he gonna move he gonna move the people to appoint the man that's talking the right stuff, to take it, to lead the people and say, hey, we together as one now. You got to recognize us. Therefore, we taking this land. We want this. We want that. We taking it. We ain't asking you for it. We taking it. We're not asking you for it. The violence shall take the kingdom by force. Are we going to go and take you people's houses out and move y'all out of your houses and steal your food? No, we're not going to do that. We're going to build our own houses. We're going to get us some tents, and we're going to go in the forest. We're going to go in the forest or wherever people ain't living, and we're going to claim our houses back. We're not paying you taxes on our property. We're not going to pay you no more. We're going to protect what we take back. Because once we do that, then we'll be standing up against the evildoers, and the Most High is going to protect us. And when you see that he's fighting for us again, you're going to say, oh, okay. You are the indigenous people of this land. You are the Israelites. You are the northern kingdom. I know you're going to say, then so what? But when you do, and all that hell break out, when all hell break out, you're going to wish you hadn't. Because he's going to sabotage and send them angels down here to destroy every one of y'all till you back up off of us. He's going to divide those lines. But we got to stand up to y'all first. And not only that, you thought you was going to beat your own people up and call them collateral damage, call them N-word lovers, nigger lovers, and scare them out? No, you're not going to scare them young people and some of the old European Caucasian people. You're not going to scare them into not helping us. They're going to help us. Because the fight is with right and wrong now. The fight is with right and wrong. And they're going to stand for what's right. Because they tired of being your subjects. They tired of being subject to you and your wicked doing, Edomites. So you're going to have some of your people, even half of your people, that's going to stop you, going to fight you in your own households and stop you and tell you wrong. You might not even make it to the streets with your AR-15s and your military police. You might get stopped at home by your own people. So be careful. Okay? Be careful, because you might get stopped at home. They're going to cling to us. The nations are going to cling to us to help God bring us out. So think it's a joke. Okay, where am I at? The states recognize and respect the uh, multicultural and multilingual character of the indigenous people who are integral 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 part of their society. Now, yeah, we don't have to speak your English, your perfect English. A lot of us is learning Hebrew. I just uh I just started learning the syllables. It's out there being taught. The real Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew is being taught. A lot of us speak Ebonics. You know, we don't have to go to your schools because that is not what we should be learning how to make it in your kingdom. We should be learning how to build houses, how to dig water, how to plant food, how to hunt, how to set up perimeters and guards to protect ourselves and to feed ourselves and to govern ourselves. That's what we should be doing. We don't have to learn, we might have to learn how to use those scopes and those compasses and, we don't have to learn, we all of us can shoot. It's enough of us that play that Call of Duty. You know, that's what they train military on. And it's enough of our people that can shoot. And they know how to manipulate. They know how to flank. Yeah, they know how to take cover. They know how to do all that. They know how to lay down cover fire. They know how to do all of that. They know how to do all that, these young kids. They better than some of us. You're going to be surprised who God's going to raise up them saviors. Attack us if you want to. Attack us if you want to. Now we coming. We want our land back. We going. You gotta respect our rights. I know you don't want to, but you got to. What are we doing? We are establishing the authority of God back in the earth today. That's what we're doing. We don't want to join in with you in your kingdom. We are establishing the laws of the Most High, the kingdom of the Most High back in the earth today. And we got some black devils and some so-called white devils, some brown devils, some mulatto devils. Y'all, we got a whole lot of y'all that God gonna have to stop. He's gonna have to stop you. You're sitting out here with your AR-15 shooting people, robbing. You're gonna starve to death, and you're gonna die of a whole lot of stuff. Thousands gonna fall on one side, 10,000 on your right side. But it ain't gonna come near the people with the seal in their foreheads that don't sin. The people that believe in the law, that keep the law. It ain't gonna come. We got that seal in our forehead. You ain't gonna be able to kill us. You gonna get up, getting ready to go rob somebody, and you fall out with a heart attack. So it ain't gonna come near us. We ain't worried about it. All we gotta do is stand up and establish this law back in the earth today. Not no fashion shows and all of that, man. You better put your war clothes on. You can't wear them big old pretty garments. Y'all got fashion shows and stuff, walking across stage with your big music equipment. You better be learning how to gather together and do some recon, grow some gardens. You better learn how to do that. Learn how to live together, because a whole lot of you Israelites don't know how to live together. The camps don't know how to live together. Y'all can't even get together. So he's going to have to move you leaders out the way that's calling yourself leaders of one group. And everybody else is dumb Christians. You're supposed to be going for them people. Look at all them brothers and sisters we got down south in South America, south of Mexico, south of the United States. We got over 300 million people that call themselves slaves from Africa, was brought over there from Africa. We know that's the Northern Kingdom. They still running around in naked in bathing suits and stuff, partying it up on the weekend, just barely making enough money to eat, eating off the water. Don't have real livestock down there, eating out the water, crabs and lobster and shrimp, unclean food. They don't know who they are. But y'all running over in Africa where it's safe at, right? 300 million, I bet it's over 3, look it up. 300 million Negro Afro-Americans down there. Afro-Brazilians, Afro-Cubans, Afro-Argentinians, Go look at it. It's over 200 million 800,000 Afro-Brazilians in Brazil. Now, how did it get more there than it is here? You mean they took more people down to Africa, from Africa to Brazil, than they did here in America? That's another thing. No, they moved those people from America, clearing the land over there. They moved them out of here down over the islands. That's how. So just think how many people was really here, how many Northern American Indians was really here, Northern Kingdoms was really here in North America when they got here and start moving us out and bringing Europeans in. They just needed enough to work this land, but they didn't want enough people here to revolt against them and take this main land back, right? That's why they moved them all south, man. So we can prove all of that, what I'm saying. Okay. Let's do 4. Article 4. Let me change this page. Okay, Article 3. The indigenous people have the right to self-determination. By virtue of that right, they freely determine their political status and freely pursue their economic, social, and cultural development. Ain't that something? These are all the things they know we have the right to, but they stop us from doing. Make laws. Their strength is in the lawmaking, right? And what they call justice. They call it just. But it's not just, and they don't have the right to do it because we're sovereign people. And we're God's people, His special people. Not only that, He made every man free to do what they want to do, as long as they didn't violate another man's boundaries. Article 4. Nothing in this declaration may be interpreted as implying for any state, people, group, or persons any right to engage in any activity, to perform any act contrary to the charter of the organization. Decline this call. Organization of American State, or the Charter of the United States, are construed as authorizing or encouraging any action which would dismember or impair totally or in part the territorial integrity or political unity of sovereign and independent states. We are the sovereign and the independent states. If any nation, any agency, police force, banks, park rangers, state police, the organs, legislation, and what was the other one? Executive and judicial branches. If they do anything that violate us, then they should be subject to lawsuit and writs, cease and desist. We write to cease and desist for a lot of these laws they're passing. And not only that, we read in the Peace and Treaty Friendship, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. We read there where what the laws were for them, how to travel, and their jurisdiction. It's talked about the jurisdiction they had and how they had to stay on their side. We stay on our side as far as the courts, laws, lawmaking, traveling. That's what that peace and friendship treaty is. We get down deeper into it. But that's what that's really about. And we read, if they violate that, or if they take sides with another people to violate our treaty, if they take sides with those people and take up a banner to fight with those people against us, then they've violated and they've called themselves back at war with us. So making a law that that protects the Chinese and they can come around and do what they want, or any other nation, Japanese, Africans, any other nation that comes over here must keep that same treaty that the United States have with us. And if not, they violate it. If the United States make any rights where we can't make any laws where we can't protect ourselves against them, or they're going to call it a hate crime, that was them breaking the treaty right there. They made those laws already. Trump, Biden, they're all standing with these other nations, giving them the right to come over here and do what they want to us in our land. The police force, the military, licensed agents, all of that. They're giving them, they're standing behind their attack on us. So that's them at war with us. So they're doing it individually. Individually, they're attacking us. And they're doing it to us because we're one nation. All right. So we're going to save section 2 for another time, the rights of indigenous people. We're going to go into this. We're going to get into a little of this Negro Black codes, the Christian Black codes. You see, can you see it? Christian Black codes 1724 was initiated during the Reconstruction after the Civil War, right? To control blacks after they were emancipated. Passed by the southern states. Instead of giving blacks the same rights as white people, the codes limited blacks' freedom severely. They included that blacks had to be in service of white people, that they could not congregate together, that they could not speak out, that they could not have weapons. They also included that blacks could not go out without a white supervisor. Thus, blacks had to take on religion and holidays and gods of their white superiors. These same black codes were said to have been made null and void with the ratification of the 13th Amendment in 1865, although many southern states adopted black codes to keep former slaves from voting and impose other restrictions. Okay. And impose other restrictions and to impose other restrictions. The 14th and 15th Amendment were to supposedly had eliminated these codes, but as you read them down below and study the law of the land in conjunction with the religion and politics, you'll discover these codes have been modernized and disguised, and many are still in effect. Did you see that? Did you see that? Okay. The black codes. The Christian codes. Let's just read a few of these. Article 1. Decree the expulsion of the Jews from the colonies. Didn't I tell you? Now, who is this talking? Expulsion of the Jews from the colonies. Now this was 17 this was in 1724, I think it was. 1724. Yeah. 1724. So you know they wasn't talking about the Jewish people. It was talking about us. It was talking about us. Expulsion of the Jews from the colonies. So in other words, what they were doing is saying you couldn't call yourself a Jew anymore. Beat Kunta into saying he was Toby, right? That's what that was all about. Kunta, you can't say you Kunta no more. You got to be Toby. You got to be Toby, right? You can't say you Kunta. You got to be Toby. All right? You got it? Let's see. Okay. Okay. There it is. Article 2. Make it imperative on the master to impart religious instructions to their slaves. Now, where did we get Christianity from? Where did we get Christianity from, I wonder? All you so-called Christians sitting up here fighting to stay in slavery. Thank you, Kanye. Fighting to stay in the slave Bible. Start fighting for that slave religion, right? All you Christians who say you can read, who say you understand Christianity, you understand what the Bible is saying. You're not teaching the Bible. You're teaching man's doctrine. You're teaching your slave master's doctrine. Okay, Article 3. Permit the exercise of the Roman Catholic Creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Well. I hope y'all wake you up a little bit. I hope this wake you up a little bit. Okay? Negroes, Article 4. Negroes placed under the direction or supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. So if you didn't believe in God and a Negro was under your supervision, then we might take him from you. You got to keep them Negroes surrounded by evil religious practices, teachings. You can't have them around nobody that's going to teach them who they are. Didn't we tell you that? Didn't we tell you that? When them foreigners come over here, they got to go through a civics class. That's why they got to learn civics. Why are they learning civics? Because they got to be taught what to tell, how to deal with the blacks over here in fear that they might wake them up. And if you wake them up, they're going to take that Negro away from you, and they're going to deport whoever you are that came over here talking and telling our slaves who they are, that they God-chosen people, that they the best thing that God ever made. They above all other people. They in captivity. These are their enemies that they're honoring as slave masters, as masters. They got Stockholm syndrome. they shouldn't bow down to this man. They should stand up and fight if it kills them for their freedom. That kind of talk will raise up an army. What we're doing right now is raising up an army. What we're doing right now is debunking the lies of this society. 5, Sunday and holidays are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated, taken away from their masters. Why did they want to make Sunday? Were they so religious? If they were so religious, they'd have kept the Sabbath the way it was. But this was in doctrine. This is where you learn how to worship on Sunday, Christians. This is where y'all don't know now, but I bet your grandparents knew. I mean, then where did these Negroes know how to worship on any other day? Because they kept the Sabbath. They were the Native Americans, were the indigenous people were Israelites, and they kept the Sabbath. They studied the moons. Why did they look at the moons? They kept feast days. But you people have been bushwhacked. Yeah. What's that word? Malcolm X used? Cadoodles. You've been tricked. You've been kidnapped. You've been brainwashed. You've been tricked. Okay. Negroes ought to. They made Sunday that holiday, pushing them farther and farther away from our identity. This their religion push us farther away from our identity. The treaties of peace and friendship, the secret treaty of Verona, those agents for the Pope, that's what that secret treaty is making reference to. All these agents, religious organizations, churches, and everything, you gathering the people up for the Pope. Now it makes sense. You worship on Sunday, you teach Catholicism, the basis of Catholicism. You gathering people for the Pope, not for Christ. Christ's going to say, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of iniquity. Okay, let's read 6. We forbid our white subjects of both sex to marry with the blacks under penalty of being fined and subject to some other arbitrary punishment. We forbid all curates, priests, and missionaries of our secular and regular clergy, and even our chaplains in our navies to sanction such marriages. Ain't nowhere in the world. See, I told you. Why did they have to make that law? Because it was not illegal to do it in the beginning. That's how the nations got so mixed up, right? And then we know we don't believe in mixed nations, but we believe in mulattoes who don't know who don't know who they are. You could be part of the wheat or the tare. You wouldn't know, because this nation in the beginning mixed up. It's been past 4 or 5 generations, but they were so mixed up, and they still spreading out seed that look like the tare, brown seed and yellow seed, and you don't know who your father is. You don't know where you came from. Only way you know if you're of an Israelite offspring is that you have a desire and a strong desire to keep these laws and come back to the laws and commandments of God. If you don't, you could be anybody. You could be Japhet and you could be Japhet, Ham, and Moab mixed together. Yeah, you could be Edomite, Moab, Japhet, Chinese. You could be anybody mixed together. You don't know who you are. If you find yourself can't keep the laws and you find yourself saying These laws are too hard for me. They too hard for me. I don't want, you find yourself on the spirit of Esau, hating your birthright, don't want to be an Israelite. I ain't no Israelite. I heard a lot of people say that when I try to talk to them. I ain't no Israelite. I don't know your God. I know my Christian God. Okay? Okay. It says, we forbid all the priests. Okay. We also forbid all of our white subjects and even our manumitted or free-born blacks to live in a state of concubinage with white slaves. Okay? Now see, they had white slaves, right? Yellow, white, they had white slaves. You can't even buy a prostitute, a white prostitute. You get in trouble for getting a white prostitute. Should there be any issues from this kind of intercourse, see, it is our will that the person so offending and the master of the slaves should pay each a fine of 300 livres. Should said issue be the result of concubinage of the master, his slave, his maid, shall not only pay the fine, but be deprived of the slave and of the children. So he said the white slave master couldn't even be caught having sex. See, he was trying to draw that fine line. Esau was drawing that fine line between the races. That's when he stopped that. Now, it had to be a trick behind it, because them masters, a lot of them, they put over 60,000 babies in our race. They put over 60,000 babies from 1619 to the 1800s. 60,000 mulatto babies in our race and left them there. They put them there and left them there. And they produce babies, and they produce babies. The Edomite seed spread it out through our race. Okay? So Esau was trying to stop him. He said, "No, we got to create this status in race. So we need to keep our blonde head, blue eyes separate from the brown eyes, separate from the brown skin. Okay? We're gonna create another race. So we need to do some immaculate placing and placing that seed particular into certain wombs, so we could get this certain outcome of races. Because where we can't get down, when we let these slaves go, they're going to unite, and we're going to need some spies down there doing our job for them. We're going to need some taskmasters down there over the people. So we're going to make our delegates the light-skinned tares. Not the light-skinned wheat, but the light-skinned tare. Okay? Okay. Who shall be adjudged to the hospitals of the locality, and said slaves shall be forever incapable of being set free, but shall this illicit intercourse have existed between a free black and his slave, when said slave, according to the form described by the church, said slave shall become free and legitimate, and in such case there shall be no application of the penalties mentioned in the present article. Now, if a free black had a slave, now it was all right for him to, and they ain't got nothing against masters having babies with slaves and having intercourse with slaves. Their thing was, they was, like I said, they're trying to keep these races, separate these races again. Article 7. The ceremony and forms prescribed by the ordained and of bias and by the edict of 1691 for marriages shall be observed both regard to free persons and slaves. But consent of the father and mother of the slave is not necessary. That of the master shall be the only requirement. Okay? So if slaves want to get married, they got to ask the master. They don't have, y'all wasn't number boys and girls. The mother and father, y'all wasn't none, just like dogs or slaves or cattle and stuff. They don't the cattle didn't select the mates, didn't select their offspring to go mate with that one, or you go mate with that one. No, the slave master did that. So he treating you like animals here. We forbid all cultures, Article 8. We forbid all curates to process to effect marriages between slaves without the proof of consent of their masters. And we also forbid all masters to force their slaves into marriage against their will. Okay. Because, if they did that, then they would have problems having them offspring, right? The man might not even, he might not even go have sex with the woman. Or it's going to, the baby might come out deformed or anything. He wanted them to like each other. They take care of the baby better, right? They could say the baby fell and hit his head or anything, kill the baby. So they wanted to make sure both parents loved each other and loved the baby to assure the safety of the child. Children, Article 9, children issued from the marriage of slaves shall follow the condition of their parents and shall follow the condition of their parents and shall belong to the master of the wife and not of the husband, the master of the wife and not of the husband. And if the husband and the wife have different masters, okay, so if they got different masters, the male husband, like that started them women to thinking that was their baby too. See, that made them think, okay, the baby belongs to me. See how this stuff work, man? And they still doing it today. They still doing it today. This lasted over 500 years, man. This mindset of these people they put in you, they still using it today. They still tell you that the mother is the sole guardian of the parent of the child, right? The mother has the right with her body to kill your baby if he wants to, if she wants to. They still tell you that. Let's read 10. Let's read 10. If the husband be a slave and the wife free, it is our will that the child of whatever sex they be shall share the condition of their mother and be free as she, notwithstanding the servitude. Okay? So, you see the Negro codes, you see where they got us at, how they playing us. You see you see uh okay, you see you see what's going on here, right? Okay, I ain't gonna do nothing. I'm gonna leave it like that. But anyway, you see what's happening here. And again, the reason why it is important for us to understand that God didn't leave us here to be beat up and to recognize their uh, wicked laws as the law of the land. We know it's not right, and it's coming down to it now, to where we're gonna have to gather together and establish this law and take over our own government, establishing the laws of God. That's the only way it's going to work. The Israelite camps are out there reading. They're out there reading to us. They're reading to us the righteousness of God on the streets. They're debunking and confounding the wicked and showing how they are wicked in their thinking. They're wicked in their lawmaking. Every part of them is wickedness. Every part of them is wickedness. And if you follow them, you will fall with them. And that's all I'm trying to convey here, is that we have to stop following them. Just because they say they are the law of the land don't mean they are. And it's our duty to stand up to know these laws are human rights. They are breaking them all. They don't consider us. They are our enemies. They don't consider us as being human like them. They're not human, but they try to say we are savages, but they are the real savages. All the lawmakers, the government that govern the earth is of savagery. They're savages. And only the laws of God will make you righteous and make you humane and get your thinking right. Only the laws of the Most High will do this for you. So what do you have to do? You got to go back and read those first 5 books of the Bible. All right? And some of the laws are for you, some of them are not. 613 laws. Some of them are for you, some of them are not. The moral laws, the dietary law, the ceremonial laws, okay? It's 5. Let's see. The sacrificial laws, no. And some of the laws that we have to commit, we're in our land. Some laws are for the women, some laws are for the men, So you got to go in. There's the real simple laws that we can start. You got to keep the Sabbath. You got to keep the Sabbath. If you don't keep the Sabbath, that's total disrespect of the Most High. And you're outside of your nation. Men, grow whatever beard you can grow. Women, dress modest. We all put on our fringes. Zits. Sometimes, now me myself, sometimes I'll tuck my zits in. I'm getting better at it though when I go out in public, certain places, because I don't want to get in no fight. I don't want, and I will. I mean, I'm military. You're not just gonna walk up and do anything to me, and I'm hoping you ain't gonna sneak up on me. I'm hoping the good Lord will give me the insight to see when somebody's trying to sneak up and purge me out or do something to harm me, because I want to get them before they get me, or while they get me. I don't want them to get away, because I don't want my people have to suffer these wicked murderers and killers out here. So I don't want to be the vigilante. I'm not going to be a vigilante, but I want to stand my grounds. And if I have to eliminate some of these people, I don't mind, because the Most High is keeping us away from trouble. But if he sends somebody on me to attack me, I hope that he teach my hands to fight, or whatever weapon I got, not weapon, but whatever a defense mechanism I use, I hope mine work and theirs don't. Because I'm never going to go up and attack another nation or my same nation. I'm never going to do anything to harm anybody. I get along. People sometimes don't even know I'm an Israelite, because, I don't act like I hate people. I treat you nice. I ain't gonna be out trying to hurt your babies. If I see, you know, a nice Edomite trying to be nice and get out of the way, and somebody trying to hurt him, I might step in and help the Edomite. If I know it's wicked, I know the situation is he didn't start no trouble, she didn't start no trouble. I'm definitely not gonna kill any women and kids unless it's self-defense. I'd have to defend my kids and my family and but the Bible said that we don't know which one of them he's saving for slaves, so why would we attack them? They might be my best slave, might be my best servant in the kingdom. So Edomites don't have to never worry about us doing nothing to them. They didn't have to worry about the Israelites. Pharaoh didn't have to worry about the Israelites doing nothing to them. They just wanted to be left alone so they could serve God, so they could put their nation back together away from the heathens. And that's all we saying. After 400 years of you killing us and our relatives, and all we ask y'all is for peace, and you get mad and want to kill us and attack us, you got it. That's just proving you the devils of the earth. You just like your ancestors. But it's gonna be some of these nations that's gonna stand up with us, because it's all about right and wrong. It ain't about color now. It ain't about color. It's about right and wrong. So it's gonna be some people that stand up and do right by the Most High. We gotta warn the wicked, and that's what we're doing. We're warning the wicked. So all praises to the Most High. I gotta go in here and clean up the first part of this video. And let's see, I'm gonna look at it first and see what I gotta do. I might have to do it on YouTube. If you see the bad part of it, overlook it and keep going. Look at it to the end. All right. All praises to the Most High. Shalom.